Right now, 84% of the world's coral reefs are bleaching, the largest mass extinction event in ocean history, unfolding beneath the surface as we speak. This isn't just an ocean problem, it's a threat to our food, our coastlines, and our future. What's causing this silent collapse, and can we stop it before it's too late? So, what is coral bleaching? First, corals aren't rocks or plants, they're animals. Colonies of thousands of tiny creatures called polyps. Their vibrant colors come from a secret partner, microscopic algae called zooxanthellae, living inside them. It's a perfect partnership. The coral gives the algae a home, and the algae provides up to 90% of the coral's food through photosynthesis. But this partnership is fragile. When the ocean gets just 1 or 2 degrees too warm, the coral gets stressed, like a person with a fever. The heat makes the algae produce toxins. Suddenly, the life-sustaining partner becomes dangerous. To save itself, the coral does the only thing it can. It kicks the algae out. As the colorful algae are expelled, the coral's transparent tissue reveals its stark white skeleton underneath. This is coral bleaching. A bleached coral isn't dead. Not yet. It is, however, starving and vulnerable. If the water cools down, the coral can recover, but if the heat stays, it will starve, leaving a skeleton that crumbles to dust. So why does this matter? Coral reefs cover less than 1% of the ocean's floor, but they support 25% of all marine life. Lose them and a quarter of the ocean species lose their home overnight. Thousands of species, from the smallest shrimp to the largest sharks, depend on them for food, shelter, and to raise their young. Their importance extends beyond the water. Healthy reefs are a literal line of defense, shielding coastlines from storms and erosion. They're a vital source of food and jobs for over 500 million people, supporting entire nations through fishing and tourism. They're even a source for new medicines. They are essential life support systems for the planet, with an economic value in the trillions of dollars. And now they're facing an enemy they can't fight. So what's cranking up the ocean's thermostat? The main culprit is our warming planet. The oceans have absorbed the vast majority of the excess heat from our greenhouse gas emissions, causing sea surface temperature to rise to dangerous levels. Corals are already living at the very edge of what they can tolerate, and we're pushing them over that edge. This is not a far-off theoretical problem. According to NOAA, the world is in the middle of the 4th ever global mass bleaching event, the most severe and widespread ever documented. Since it started in early 2023, bleaching has been confirmed in at least 83 countries and territories, hitting a staggering 84% of the world's coral reef areas. The damage is global. We've seen it on the Great Barrier Reef, which has suffered its 5th mass bleaching event in just 8 years. The Caribbean has been scorched with unprecedented heat, with some reefs in Florida and Mexico seeing nearly 100% of their coral die. The heat has been so far off the charts that NOAA's Coral Reef Watch had to add 3 new alert levels to its warning maps because the old scale was no longer enough. This isn't a natural cycle. It's the direct result of our rapidly changing climate. Losing these reefs is more than an environmental tragedy. It's a socio-economic catastrophe. When a reef dies, the fallout is a chain reaction. The structure that housed a quarter of all marine life collapses. Fish vanish, biodiversity plummets, and the entire marine food web is disrupted. For the hundreds of millions who depend on reefs, this collapse means empty fishing nets and the end of tourism dollars that entire towns rely on. Without the reef's protection, coastal communities are exposed to the full force of storms and rising seas. Consider the economics. Reef tourism is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Reef fisheries feed huge populations. The protection they offer saves billions more in coastal damage. Losing them means losing all of that. It's a quiet collapse with incredibly loud consequences, threatening our food supply, our economies, and the safety of people all over the world. The picture is bleak, but the story isn't over. Scientists, conservationists, and local communities are fighting back to give reefs a chance. One strategy is coral restoration, essentially underwater gardening. Scientists collect fragments from corals that survive bleaching, raise them in nurseries, and then plant them back onto damaged reefs. Groups like the Coral Restoration Foundation in Florida have already planted hundreds of thousands of corals. In Indonesia, one project used reef star structures to increase coral coverage from just 2% to over 70%. Scientists are also accelerating evolution, breeding supercorals that can naturally handle hotter water. They're also creating genetic backups by freezing coral sperm and eggs. These innovations buy precious time, while marine protected areas give reefs a safe space to recover from other pressures like overfishing and pollution. The problem is huge, but you're not helpless. The fight for our reefs is both global and personal. Our collective actions create a powerful wave of change. First, shrink your carbon footprint. It's the root of the problem. Use less energy, choose a greener transportation, and be mindful of what you consume. It all adds up. Second, support groups on the front lines. Consider donating to organizations like the Coral Restoration Foundation or the Reef World Foundation that are actively restoring reefs. Third, be a conscious traveler and consumer. If you snorkel or dive, choose reef-safe tour operators who don't anchor on the coral. When you buy seafood, look for sustainably sourced options. And finally, use your voice. Share this video. Talk to your friends and family. The more people who understand this crisis, the greater the pressure on our leaders to act. We are at a turning point. Those ghostly white reefs spreading across our oceans are not a subtle hint. They are a blaring alarm. They are the planet's fever made visible. If we continue on our current path, we are heading for a world where these incredible ecosystems exist only in old documentaries. It's predicted that by 2050, nearly all of the world's remaining reefs could face devastating bleaching every single year. But that future isn't set. Hope, science, and community show us another way forward. We have the tools and knowledge to make a difference. The survival of our coral reefs hangs on the choices we make right now. We face a choice between a future with vibrant, living oceans that sustain us all, or a future of silent, empty seas. The choice is ours.